When you think of sports games, you probably either think of FIFA, 2K, or Madden. And that's normal, as they release every year and stupid people who complain about how bad the games are buy the next one day one to keep the vicious circle going. However, there is a niche within the gaming sports community that doesn't get much love, which is the martial arts niche. And within this genre lies one of the greatest sports games ever created.
Stan, the only way to the title is through me.
That's what champions do. They get back up.
Fight Night Champion is a boxing game developed by EA in its fifth and the last entry in the Fight Night series and was released in March 2011 for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. You can play it on the Xbox One or Series X, since the game is backward compatible. This game has the classic game modes you find in any sports game, like the free fight, career mode, and online. However, what makes this game generational is its gameplay in the champion mode. Fight Night Champion stands apart from many sports games because of its bold storytelling approach, and nowhere is that more evident than in its champion mode. This mode isn't about throwing punches and winning matches, it's a cinematic, emotional journey that immerses players in the gritty, often harsh realities of a boxer's life. At its core, Champion Mode tells the story of Andre Bishop, a talented but troubled boxer fighting to reclaim his life and career after a tragic incident leaves him imprisoned. Unlike many sports games that focus solely on gameplay mechanics or career progression, Champion Mode integrates a fully scripted storyline that feels more like an interactive boxing drama than a standard video game campaign. This narrative depth immediately hooks players who aren't just controlling a character, they're living his struggles, hopes, and redemption. The story explores themes like injustice, perseverance, loyalty, and personal sacrifice, given its emotional weight rarely seen in sports titles. The presentation of Champion Mode further enhances its impact. From the very start, players are treated to cinematic cutscenes that rival Hollywood productions. The use of moody lighting, realistic facial animations, and a compelling soundtrack creates a tense atmosphere that pulls you into Bishop's world. These cutscenes aren't just filler, they enrich the story by providing context and character development, making every fight feel meaningful beyond the scoreboard. This integration of storytelling with gameplay makes each victory or defeat resonate emotionally. Another reason Champion Mode shines is its balance between scripted events and player agency. While the story drives key moments and plot twists, players retain controls over the fight outcomes and tactics, allowing for a personalized experience. This doesn't mean that you can control the outcome, but more like have the freedom to be creative in how you want to win or knock your opponent. The tension builds naturally as you anticipate crucial fights that can change the course of Bishop's life, making each bout feel like a true test for your skills and determination. The mode's pacing expertly mixes intense battle with quieter story moments, giving players time to breathe and reflect on the narrative. What truly elevates Champion Mode's gameplay are the unique story-driven fight conditions that force players to adapt beyond typical boxing mechanics. For instance, one fight challenges you to box without using your right hand, simulating a severe injury and pushing you to rethink your entire strategy. In another match, the referee is corrupt and penalizes body shots, limiting your attack options and adding a layer of unfair adversity. In another example, the judge's corruption means that you cannot win by points, which means you must deliver a knockout to claim the victory. These inventive constraints don't just test your skill, they immerse you deeply into Andre's Bishop's struggles, making every fight feel like a true narrative and tactical challenge. Champion Mode also stands out because of its authentic portrayal of boxing culture. From the locker rooms and the training gyms and the crowd reactions and the media interactions, the mode captures the sport's atmosphere in a way that resonates with fans and newcomers alike. The developers researched the boxing world thoroughly, adding layers of realism that deepen immersion. Whether it's the crowd's roar or the devastating knockout or the emotional weight of Bishop's personal struggles, the mode feels genuine and respectful to the sport. Finally, the emotional payoff of Champion Mode is unmatched. Players witness Bishop's highs and lows, not just in the ring, but in his life outside of it. The mode doesn't shy away from difficult subjects like corruption, violence, and redemption, making the journey feel authentic and hard-earned. When you finally reach the climactic fights, it's not just about winning a title, it's about overcoming adversity, reclaiming dignity, and fulfilling the personal quest for justice. This narrative closure leaves players with a sense of accomplishment that goes beyond the typical game victories. If I had to nitpick Champion Mode, one big thing would be the lack of freedom when it comes to how the story plays out. You're basically forced to win or lose certain fights to keep moving forward, and that can feel pretty restrictive. It's like the game has a very specific narrow path it wants you to follow, so no matter what and how you want to approach a fight or how well you perform, you're stuck with scripted outcomes. That kind of takes away the sense of ownership over your journey, like you're just playing through someone else's story, not just sharing it yourself or shaping it how you want it to be. Imagine if you could decide how to handle certain challenges, or if your choices in the ring or outside of it affected the story differently. That would add so much replay value and make the whole experience feel way more personal and immersive. Right now, the mode nails the emotional storytelling, but a bit more player agency would let us really live Bishop's story, not just watch it happen. But since the game is 14 years old, it's not surprising as that wasn't a prominent feature in video games at the time. Also, the final boss fight is an absolute nightmare. Honestly, it was harder than Elden Ring for me, and it made me want to throw my controller across the room. It didn't need to be that brutal, and it kind of sucked all the fun right out of the whole thing, especially since I was playing on the highest difficulty. That fight felt more like a punishment than a challenge, and it really stood out as a low point in an otherwise awesome mode. A bit of balance and choice would make Champion Mode even better than it already is. Sports games have the unique power to do more than just simulate a match. They can tell stories, teach resilience, and capture the human spirit behind the competition. Fight Night Champions Champion Mode shows us how a sports game can go beyond button presses and scores to deliver a deeply emotional and immersive journey. It reminds us that sports aren't about just winning or losing, they're about struggle, sacrifice, and triumph over adversity. Sadly, many modern games often miss the mark, focusing instead on endless yearly updates, microtransactions, and shallow gameplay that feels more like a cash grab than a celebration of a sport. The contrast is striking, where some titles inspire passion and connection, others reduce sports to a repetitive, hollow experience. Champion Mode stands as a symbol of what sports games should be: rich, meaningful, and capable of teaching us lessons about life itself. It challenges developers to remember that beneath every jersey is a story worth telling, and beneath every game is a change to inspire. Thank you for watching.